Well, hello, my friends. You know the real reason I have a timer to count things down? So this can kick in. That's right. You ever had those mornings you wake up and you're like, my brain, my brain, please fire on all cylinders. I've been like star jumping, moving, dancing, and I'm like, come on, buddy, we can do this. We can do this together. Damn it. And I guess that's what separates us from them, right? So I want to welcome you here to another fantastic edition of our members area live Q&A. I have some great questions. Today's a little bit more of a Latin feel, which is great because we've done a lot of ballroom in the last few months. So it's wonderful to have cha-cha, samba, and jive questions come in, as well as some form and function questions as well. Now, I want you to remember, as you're going into this, it doesn't matter your age, okay? All champions were beginners once. Does that mean all beginners can become champions? No, but that's not the point. I think half the fun of learning to dance is seeing what you can actually do, right? And the challenge that lies within that sort of opens up the opportunity for you to grow. And that is exactly what we're trying to do here. So some of the questions that you send through are very important for your development, but sometimes people can ask questions that are a little bit beyond the scope of where they're at the moment. I need you to think of dancing from the way I approach it, the way I'm teaching very systematically, because I can't actually physically grab you and make you do the step. I want you to understand that there's a system in place for you to follow so you can develop skills. And that's how you need to think of dancing, not in the artistic, musical, expressive side, but in the learning side, right? So when you're actually developing the technique and the foundations, it's very A to B to C to D, right? Like if you get the order right, you'll find that you magically can dance better to music and have the ability to express your dancing and to feel it and to enjoy it more. Makes sense, right? But if you go from, say, A to B and then D to C, you miss a step or you go in the wrong order, then you'll find that you'll be frustrated, right? So this is why it doesn't matter about your age, because you're going to have limitations no matter who you are, okay? No matter what age you are, there's always going to be some sort of physical limitation and something we're trying to work on as a dancer, something we're trying to make better and make more perfect, quote unquote. So, and if you haven't seen my latest podcast about perfection, please go and check it out. It'd be great for you to comment and check it out on YouTube and support the channel there. So think of it as a gradient and you're moving across this gradient and you're also curving upwards in your skill development. And so you got to sort of pinpoint where you're at and know what's the next level you want to get to within that curve, right? And so you don't want to be trying to jump right up here too early because it's not going to make a lot of sense anyway because you won't have the ability to access the answers to those questions if you don't have the correct skill set and foundation below it. Now, that doesn't mean people are asking stupid questions, so that's not the point. It's just sometimes you've got to get your head in the right space. And the right space for us as dancers is mastering the basics. You have to go forward this month into your dancing, understanding how to master your basic walks, right? So there's a difference in the walk in waltz than there is to the foxtrot. There is a difference in the walk in rumba than there is in your samba, for example. So how do you do those walks is going to help you to get a great foundation to then layer on the other advanced and or beginner, intermediate, and advanced principles that come on top. Okay, and so it is accessible to everyone. And although when I said before, can a beginner become a champion? Well, not every beginner can become a champion, but that's not the point, right? It's to stretch yourself and to grow and to see what you can do for yourself. So please keep that in mind as you're going through the course material. If you feel a bit overwhelmed, good, because you want to immerse yourself in the learning process and realize it's a long-term game. You know, these programs that I've made, they're crazy, right? Like I'm a bit psycho. Like they go for a year and a half, right? Dance at home. Then there's Ballroom Mastery Academy and Ballroom Mastery Academy Next Level. And I map these out in advance, like trying to weave them together to understand how to master technique on one hand, the steps, the foundations, and then how to actually like move into the area of actually dancing the way that suits you. Now, I've got some commentary here from Ulrich, who's been a long time, shout out to you, man. You've been a long time supporter of the work I do online. And, you know, I've never met most of you. So it's great that I've built this like affinity with you, but I want to read it because it's hilarious what he wrote. So this is good just before we kick into the question. He's like, Vaughan, we are a weird tribe. Normally I condense our new learned amalgamations for the group. So there's a group he dances with. A couple of months ago, we learned the reverse Flecklers. This is a Viennese waltz. This is where you go in the center of the floor and you turn like you are a mad hatter, okay? I didn't have enough time at the moment, so I thought I'd send a copy of the page from the technique book so they could practice. Oh my God. Oh boy, we had a good laugh the next week. It was Chinese for them. They could not read it, and I figured out that I was the only one who put in the work. So for all the long-time Ballroom Mastery members, we're a small group almost extinct. But it's our dedication, our passion that is our greatest advantage. As Vaughan already stated multiple times, it's the technique that gives you the freedom to express yourself. In my group, they all admire my freedom and ease by which I learn new things. And I see most of the time that things can be improved. Of course, a lot, he says. Some of them thought that I was gifted. No. We here at Ballroom Mastery members know better. BMX, baby. To all of you, let's keep up the good work and learn from each other. Thanks for making it all possible. Your weird Belgian Ulrich. I love that so much, right? Like it's so true. I'm not crying. I've got like weird tears for some reason. Must be the air conditioning. So Ulrich, that's great. Look, let's just be fair for a second. It's very easy to be like, yeah, we're smashing it. Very few people go to the trouble of doing these Q&As, for example, or okay, I'm gonna put it to you like this. You ready? Over 1 million people a year watch my content on YouTube. All right, 1 million. The amount of people that will get through the 3 courses in the entirety, okay, is below 1%, right? Because very few people, they just want the quick fix, right? They just want to go to a lesson and dance a little bit and socially. So they're not really obsessed like we are to try to make things better so we can enjoy things more. So we have beyond a hobby, we're madly obsessive, and I think that's fantastic, right? The thing is with technique books, right? So I've got lots of technique books. If you were to send like a page to someone, of like that with all the, see there, the foot positions, alignments, amount of turn, footwork, lead, count, etc. That's just for 1 step, 2 steps, then down to 6 steps for one figure, traveling by focus. If you were to send that to someone and say, hey, we're going to go through this next week, they have no idea what you're talking about. Reverse Flecklers, of all the steps you could have sent, is the most psychopathic step you could have said. That is such a hard fuck. As a teacher, I'm like, all right, man, we can do. Come on, brain, I got this. And one of the reasons I wanted to teach that in Dance at Home is because A, it's a very cool step to do, but B, it's a very advanced step for dancers to do. But when you understand how to place your feet and do it, it's just repetition. It's quite easy, right? But takes time. Viennese waltz is a difficult dance. In Australia, you don't do Viennese waltz until you're in the at least in the open division, or you're an open amateur basically. So you don't start with that dance at all. So you spend a few years dancing competition before you even do that competition dance, right? Um, Once you understand it, it's one of the easiest dances to do, and it requires very little maintenance, very little practice, right? But if you're trying to figure it out from the technique book, your knowledge base has to be so good to be able to read the book. And honestly, many dancers buy technique books, but they don't go through having a teacher to guide them. So my point of saying this is that that's what happened to me. My teacher guided me through the technique book of how to read it and understand it. And that's what I'm trying to impart here through these lessons, through these online courses, if you so choose. It's actually not required. You can learn through mimicry, through how I teach this way, and from your own teacher as well. You don't need to go to that level, but in that detail, you actually access that extra little bit and you're like, oh my God, that makes all the damn difference. Why didn't I learn that before? And it's like, well, you probably heard it, but you weren't ready, or like your body was just now open to the information. This is part of the problem of learning. Anyway, so if we'll get into this in a minute, but I love the fact that you sent the, like, in my opinion, like the most difficult step to a group of like social dancers, be like, all right, bitches, we're dancing this next week. Be ready. Malice. That's awesome. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's get it. That's my leg. Why is my leg? Why is my leg there? Okay, here we go. Well, Ulrich, we're gonna start with you, my man. Quick step. How to perform the back checks in the quick step up to 1 to 3 of a natural turn. That's a very cool combination, actually. So let's go through that and talk it through real quick. And I'll explain how I would dance it if I was working with you. Okay, so the step that you are talking about, we'll dance this way, is a natural turn, slow, quick, quick. And then you're going back on the left foot, checking, checking. Wow, oh my God. And then into pendulums, okay? So if we dance it this way, right? So you've got your swing, and then, so you're checking on the left foot, checking on the right foot, and then you're going into your pendulum points. Now, one more time with the feet. Okay, so we'll do it from here towards the camera. So slow, quick, quick, and then you've got slow ball heel, right? You go back on the right foot. I would take this in CBMP, right? Ball heel, so lady can step forward, and then you would close and then do your pendulum points. Okay, so what I would suggest you do on this is think of a tipple chasse. So we have different types of sway in ballroom dancing. In ballroom dancing, we have sway is generally, it's the easiest way to think of it, is just balancing. So you sway to the inside of a turn to balance the swing. You also have something called broken sway. So in a tipple chasse in quick step, you would break the sway and you would go outside and tilt from the hips. So the way I think of the back checks is to then, as you take that first step, is to sway to my left with a bit of a broken sway. I also want to make sure that my body is actually going to be a bit more forward than leaning back. Now, I know like teachers have different opinions on this. You can do either. So you can go there. On the second step, I would bring my weight more back, right? Like that. See, my head's a little bit more back weighted. That I would do that on the second step more than the first. So the first one, I'd go there to shape the lady's head to the right. And then I would bring my weight back here. And I would stretch my left side. So on the first sway, the first check, it would be a left sway, broken sway. And on the second one, I would sway to the right, but I would stretch that left side right up, keeping that line in my arms. And I'd have my head back a little bit. And then I would use that energy there to sort of suck up and get into the pendulum points, right? So I want to be feeling this like boom, boom, and then out, right? Boom, boom, and out. You got it? Boom, boom, out, baby. Right? So we go from there, boom, bum, and then up. Okay? So I hope that helps. Have a bit of fun playing with that, because the most important thing to do with your dancing is to play with what you're doing and to see what works as well. But yeah, using the sides of your body and stretching is going to help a lot. And then boom, use your head weight as well. All right, next little bit, let's get into Sue. Okay, into our Samba we go. And what, my, this keeps going the wrong way. Okay, this is from Kevin. So I've got two Samba questions now, which is great. So from Kevin, my question is regarding the man steps for the plats in Samba. Can you please demonstrate? And do the feet go back in two lines or one? Do they swivel, or is there any specific hip action? This is a great step. So for those who don't know the plats, this is a uh, there's many steps in Samba. Is it just me that can make you feel a little awkward when you first learn them? This is one of them. So the plats, for those who don't know, the lady is creating a swivel, right? Boom, like that. So she's creating a swivel, going diagonals, traveling down the line of dance, but moving outwards so her feet can shape. Now she does that because of the man's step called a merengue step. So what happens with a merengue step is we're going with the foot. I'll explain in a second, but let me demonstrate. So I'm going slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, and then put the heel down. We'll do that with the foot cam, baby, foot cam. Let's go here. So we go. And slow, slow, then quick, quick, slow. Now, the thing that I need you to pay attention to is when you do a merengue step, right, you're actually, see my ball of my foot and the heel is up? Now, the other thing is too, my knee is going to be flexed. So the way I think about this to keep it simple is that the leg that I'm standing on, so just do this for a moment. Stand on your left leg, okay? Just keep it straight. And then put the right foot on the ball of the foot and bend the knee. Now, as you do that, this hip should go out and back. So you want the leg that you're standing on, that's completely straight, the hip goes out and back. I need you to understand that, because when I put my right heel down, okay, and I start to straighten it, my left foot is going to do that action as well. I need to pass the heel, so there's the heel. Need to pass the heel a little bit on the ball and bend that knee. And then my hip goes out. So what ends up happening is you create this, the merengue action is unique to, in this particular figure, because we don't do it very often in dance. I think we do it in the jive as well for one figure, but that might be the chicken walk side from recollection. But the idea is that we're only going out, then out, 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 out. And that's unusual, right? Like normally your hips are not doing that. They're contracting and expanding. Now, why are they doing that? Because when you are doing the merengue action, okay, so, okay, I'm going to break this down again. So let's start with our right foot first, all right? And to answer your question, there is no swivel. You're going straight back, and you're not stepping underneath your foot. You're just going 2 tracks straight back, okay? But you want to keep the legs tight. So I don't want to be like this. You see, I don't want my legs open. That looks amazing. Looks like a cowboy gone wrong, right? So the ladies' swivels are a natural reaction to your merengue step. So when you straighten your leg, that's telling her to swivel, okay? So it times together, all right? That's part of the lead. So what you do with your body is, again, we'll start with the right foot, going back first, is we'll go back. This hand, get your body weight to lean slightly forward. See, I'm not leaning back. I'm going to actually lean more forward. I want to feel, if you ladies are dancing this, resistance. So I want a feeling of increase of tone. So basically between the hands, she's almost leaning a little bit on my hand. So when I go to move, boom, she could feel she needs to swivel. Bum, bum, bum. Okay? Keep it tight. I'll also warn you against taking big steps. It's natural to want to do this. This creates too much backward movement. Therefore, the lady's swivels are massive, yeah? And it's going to look very ugly. She should be very tight when she does her steps. She wants to be like, ba, yeah, da, da, right? And so she needs to have a very small base, and so do you. So anyways, so keep it in mind, straight leg, hip, out and back, then change the weight by lowering the heel, boom, straight leg, foot back, straight leg, foot back, straight leg, foot back, and let the hip go, right? Straight leg, foot back, hip out, right? Straight leg, foot back, hip out. And so then you create that action. Practice it a lot, okay? So that's our, what do you call it? Plats. All right. The next Samba one comes from Liz. Samba spot Voltas. Ooh, baby. What should the speed of the Voltas be, and how do you achieve the speed required? Oh, just quickly, Kevin, on the merengue, sorry, not merengue steps, the plats, you can start with the other foot. So it starts on the right foot. There's a bit of turn on the first step, you know, according to the technique book. So don't worry about that. Keep it as a straight line, but you can also do it with the other leg, and you can do varying amounts of them. Okay. So, anyways, Samba spot Voltas. What should the speed of the Voltas be, and how do you achieve the speed required? Through lots of torturous practice. So thanks, Liz and Graham. Okay, cool. So I want to talk a little bit about Samba. This framework is important, and this is why I go to a lot of detail, because you can always rewatch this. And if I get one time to answer your question, I want to at least give you the proper information first to understand why we answer why we answer. So we'll keep it simple, and then I'll also make it very in depth. So when it comes to speed in dancing, the obvious answer is, you know, the obvious answer. Yes, practice more. But you also need to practice with precision. So you need to understand what you're trying to achieve, and then execute that technique at the speed you need to go. Now, this confuses a lot of people. So first of all, I'm going to ask you out there, dancers, what is the time signature of Samba? Do you know how many beats there are in a bar? So in Samba, there are 2 beats per bar. So we count like 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Okay, why is that important? The next thing to understand is the speed, or that in dancing is what we call tempo, right? Or tempi. But I think of it as speed. So because you're asking about speed. So how many bars are in 1 minute of music for Samba? All right. So if we're going 1, 2, that's a bar. How many of those are in a minute? And the answer is 50. So 50 bars a minute creates the speed of Samba. And that's why people freak out and they're like, wow, that's very fast. I have a lot to do in my dancing because it's so fast. If we slow that music down, so you slow the tempo down, and we go to say 48 bars a minute, you'll notice a very big difference in the speed of the music, right? You'll actually notice there's a bit more time. If you go to 46, 45 bars a minute, you start to notice, wow, this is much slower. Now, here's the thing, Liz and Graham. Slower doesn't mean it's easier. That always confuses people. Slow down the music. It's like, you really want me to slow it down? It's actually harder because now you have more time between the beats for you to for you to have to produce a body rhythm. Do you understand? Now, keep coming with me. We have the time signature. We have the speed of the music, and then you have beat value, right? So now between that is the counts. Now the counts depend on the step. So in Samba, in the Voltas, we look at one solo spot Volta, and we're going to count, what is it, one or two, right? So one, a two. Are you with me? One, a two. We all know this. But under that is a beat value. So the one or two means 3/4 of a beat, a quarter of a beat, a whole beat, right? So 3/4 plus a quarter is one, and then you've got one. So there's your two beats. So one, a two is a bar of music. One, a two, one, a two, 3/4, quarter one, 3/4, quarter one. Say it with me, 3/4, quarter one, 3/4, quarter one. The reason that's important to note is if I slow the music down, right, and I make it much slower, I'll be going 3/4, quarter one, 3/4, quarter one. Notice that the inflection I gave is how I should dance, and I'll demonstrate this, of course. But why is this important? Because if I speed the music up, 3/4, quarter one, 3/4, quarter one, 3/4, quarter one, I'm now needing to make sure that the amount of time, the beat I allocate, I have to stay on the foot for that amount of time. So if it's a quarter beat, it's super fast, isn't it? If it's a whole beat, it's the longest beat that you chill on. And the speed of the music dictates exactly that. So practicing slow is good, but you have to recognize that you're going to be spending much longer on beat one than you will on the quarter beat, right? So that's all the theory. We'll go through it together in a second. So if you have multiple spot voltas in a row, i.e. if we do like 3 in a row, the timing actually changes a little bit to make you more consistent. So that's where the nuances matter, right? This is where it changes. Now, I would recommend practicing to slow to get the technique, but then go to the fast music as well, right? Because you gotta understand the technique allows you to do the step properly. So if you're missing something in your footwork, or you're not using your body correctly to turn, then you're gonna have a problem. Okay, so that's all the theory, right? So just remember, we've got speed of the music and your beat values. And beat values are very important to understand. So let's look at that in a practical sense with a spot volta to the right. All right, now the man and lady both do spot volta, so everyone wants to know. Both of us can do this. You can do 1, you can do 3, you can do 4, you can do a lot of spot voltas if you want. You can also make up to 1 full turn, but we'll do it the easiest way to actually teach it, right? So for example, all right, so you start off with your right foot to the side, and then the first part of this, let's look at the footwork first. So I'm going to go from here and go ball flat to there. My left foot is, I'm going to rise up a little bit, bounce up. My left foot's going to turn, my toe's going to turn out. I'm going to go ball, then ball flat. So that's one spot volta, okay? And if I kept going, I would simply just do another half turn each time. So one, then two. All right. So how much turn did I make each time? Just half a turn. So wherever you are in your room, note that, that's your wall, and then you're going to turn, sorry, that's going to be your center, and that'll be a wall. So I go to the wall, then I go back to the center. Then I will go back to the wall, and then back to the center. All right, let's look at that with the foot cam. Then we'll get a little bit more deep in the weeds on this one. Okay, so from here, so I'm going to turn, and 1. There's my Latin cross. Then a 2. Then if I kept going, a 3 and a 4. Okay, are you with me? Cool. So the amount of turn is important because advanced dancers, and this is what you don't want to get confused with, can often do up to like, it's been a while since I've done this, but they can do like up to 1 full turn per one, right? I dance that a little better actually in Dance at Home. So, but the idea being is that we've got half a turn on each one, all right? So making a full turn. The first, if we only do 1 spot volta, the timing is 1 or 2. So let's look at the beat value now, yeah? Okay, so the beat value would be, from here, 3/4, quarter 1, right? If I kept going, I would have to change that. So I'd be going like this. Yeah. 3/4, quarter, 3/4, quarter, 3/4, quarter 1, right? Because it all has to add up to the correct amount of bars. But the point being is that when the bit that people lose out on is the quarter beat a lot. So learning to get this second step to be very fast and tight, as in don't take a big step, because again, the bigger you step, the more distance you travel, the more time you need, the slower the music, right? Or the faster you need to be. But it also ruins your step. So small step, and then turn. Okay. Now, when you land, this is another point to note, is that when you finish a spot volta, you want to make sure your knees are in a beautiful tight position, that there's no daylight between your legs. Okay. And we call this what? What position for 10 bonus points, everyone, are my feet in? So if I do it on the other leg, right, boom. What position is this with the feet? Okay, it is called a Latin cross. So when you do spot voltas on either foot, you're creating a Latin cross at the end of each turn. Boom, boom. All right, so you turn your foot out, boom, boom. All right, and you literally are staying on the spot. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of information, I know. All right, so I'll post that in the members area actually as well, just so you actually have a frame of reference, because there's a lot in what I just said. But if you were to layer the order of what we're talking about when it comes to Samba, is get the feet in the right position. So left foot, right foot. Understand when you're on the ball of the foot, then ball flat, and note when you're in that Latin cross position, which is the pinnacle of the volta. Next, understand your counts, easily count it. So if you do one spot volta, you're going 1 or 2. If you're doing, say, 3 in a row or 4, you would go like R1, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or 1, a 2, a 1, a 2. Okay, and there's beat values that I'll write in the area for you to help understand that. Spot voltas, you can do as many as little as you like at the end of the day, okay? And you can turn left or right, and the man can also do the exact same thing. So it's a very flexible, fun step to do. Just remember to literally stay on the spot. So whatever foot you're doing the spot volta on, in that instance, it was the right foot. I try to keep that right foot in the center of the turn. Okay, I don't know why I walked off without changing the camera angle. Anyway, so going live is great. There's also, I don't even know what I'm going to say half the time. Okay, so let's try that to music. Okay, let's do that together. I'll find some samba music. And 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, and 2. Okay, again, 6, 7, 8, and 1, and 2. All right, your turn. Now, if we do a couple more, 6, 7, 8, 1, a 2, a 1, a 2. Okay, I will try to count this. I'll try to count this with beat value, but it might be the music might be too fast to try it. So, but what the hell? We're here to live on the edge, yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 quarter, quarter 1. That's the beat value, yeah. 6, 7, 8, 3 quarter, quarter 1. Right? Let's try. Let's try this with the extended version. 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 quarter, quarter, 3 quarter, quarter. No, fuck it, I can't. Man, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I always make this reference to shoes like don't try counting beat value to almost full speed music. Okay. Now, by the way, that music was slow. That wasn't completely 50 bars per minute, but you get the idea. Now, did you see the use of the feet? Now, you'll also notice to my head, so the term spot should come into mind. We'll talk about this at the end because someone asked a question about spins and turns. So stay with me because you're going to want to know this. This will help your voltas. Now, let's do one more of those with the feet, the foot cam, yeah? And 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2. And 1, a 2, a 1, a 2. All right, my friends, this is great. Keep coming with me. Fist pump, bang. We're doing good, doing good, doing good. Let's get into the next part. Let's get there. Okay, cha-cha. Elizabeth, hi, Vaughan. I have 2 questions about foot and leg speed this month. Cha-cha. We understand that there's a pause in the cha-cha. However, I am often worried about pausing for too long because I feel I will get out of time. Do you increase the foot speed on the movement after you pause in order to get back on time? And at what point should you be back on the beat? How do you achieve the increased foot speed? Okay, so I understand what you're trying to say. Don't overcomplicate it. The, the thing to keep in your mind is the feet hit the beat. Say with me, feet hit the beat. Now this predisposes the notion that you should be able to count correctly to music. So can you count properly to music? So that's the first thing. So when you count 2, 3, 4, and 1, you are literally doing that to the music every time and on time. Why is that important? Because then your feet have to hit that beat. One of the things that's important in movement, especially in our form of dancing, this is why when it comes to music, we're dancing to strict tempo, meaning each beat is, let's say the speed of cha-cha, you know, you got, was it 20, 30, 31 bars a minute, something like that, right? So, okay, so it's 31 bars a minute. That means each beat is always going to be equal distance apart. That's important to note because your foot should arrive at the beginning of the beat. So if I count 2, I want my foot to be there, not arriving over beat 2, you know, sliding into position. And that's what you mean by pausing. So cha-cha has a staccato feeling to it. So we have a slight pause, if you will, a staccato movement. But from a foot speed perspective, your foot has to be fast enough to arrive at the beginning of the beat, not the end of the beat. So if you look at one beat of music, we break it into quarters: quarter, half, 3/4, and 1. There you go. So what I'm saying here is if you count any beat, right, not the syncopations, the beats, the whole beats, the count 2, count 3, right, we want to look at the and beat 1. We want to look at the first half of the beat where your foot arrives, and then we transfer the weight and you complete the step. So in the simplest way, feet hit the beat. That's the thing you got to understand. Now, to get that to happen, you do have to just practice the speed like quite frequently, right? Don't do it to slow music because you're not working it enough. So I would say that if we keep a very simple order, which I'll show in a second, your foot hits the beat, then you pull your body over the leg, which is called transferring weight, and then you settle the body and move. That's the 3 things that you're going to think about. Okay, so if we look at that in order, we're going to now. There is so much more detail and advanced work on this in Ballroom Mastery Academy and in the next level. But again, it depends on the level you're dancing at because it can be too much information too soon. But before you begin any step, what do you do, everyone? What does your body do? Say it with me now. We settle the body. Okay, that commences the movement. So we settle through the head, the shoulder, the hip, and off we go. But in this instance, if I want to move, I want this leg here to go out on the beginning of count 2. So it has to strike the floor, bang with the heel in front of my body. You can see that? Boom, in front of the body. So that's the beginning of 2. If I put an and in, I would be transferring the weight at the end of 2. Okay? So I don't want to be counting like this. 2, 3. Right? See, I'm pushing the feet through the floor. I want a strong action. I want to be going 2, 3, then cha, cha, cha. Right? I can create my cha-cha rhythm out of that. So if we look at the little feet, we're a feet cam, bang, love foot cam, love my foot cam, right? So again, from here, if I was to step back, okay, I want this bit to go 2, the beginning of 2, right? We'll do it this way so it's a bit easy to see. And 2, and then 3, and. So the foot's ahead of the body. So yes, there's an exercise in Ballroom Mastery Academy which helps you to understand how to create faster feet so you can hit the beat, all right? And you hit it with the ball flat, so straight off the bat. You want to make sure that foot arrives in position. The good news is there is an answer, and as I said in the beginning, if you get things in the right order and you practice in the right order, you'll be okay. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that your foot hits the beat, and then you get your body to go over the leg. But I do want to make one caution here. Often what happens with people is they will, because the weight's held forward in Latin, is when your foot does it, when your weight is held too far forward, so this is, you might hit the beat, but your body goes over the foot. So you end up looking like that, okay? So you have to find a way to get your foot ahead of the body always when you want to create strong movement, okay? Now, let's get into, what was the other little bit here? Okay. You're trying to kill me on this next one. Yeah, it reminds me of Usain Bolt when he was like, do you like training? He's like, no. Like, what do you mean? You're like, you've broken all the records. You're like the greatest runner of all time. He's like, I hate training. Every time I go to training, I know I'm going to die. And he would die at dance for like an hour, not dance. Um, he would run for like 45 minutes or an hour. Like training would just murder him. Right? I watched the documentary on how he trained. It looked like it would kill anyone. So don't believe the hype. You don't need to enjoy practice, okay, if you're really stretching your body. And I'm convinced here Lisa is trying to kill me because this has been a while since I've trained this, but I teach it, okay? So her question is, I do have one question. Do you have any tips on making jive kicks and kickball changes? That's the right name, to be super fast and sharp. I do. If I try to follow Latin dancers from YouTube, I'm still on one kick by the time they finish their second. Or they're 15th, right? Is there a specific technique they have or just hours of repetition? Okay, so this is the recent video I'd put on YouTube that I really want you to watch. Practice does not make perfect, right? It creates permanence. So it's a fallacy to think that just practicing, and this comes back to Elizabeth's question of pretty much everyone else, it's a fallacy to think that the more you practice, the better you'll get. It's just not true. This is why I'm very methodical, because there's a way that you have to practice and a way that you got to find that works for you that will make you better, and there's one that'll maintain you, and there's actually one that'll ingrain the bad habits, right? So you go watch that episode. It's very, very important. But no, repetition is not going to make you faster. Okay, to an extent, it'll build your muscles, of course, and make you stronger and fitter. But what the hell are you actually practicing? And this is the question you actually have. It's like, what is the framework and technique? Now, in framing this particular part of the lesson, here is my experience. So there's two stories. One, when I first learned this, I had the same problem. I was like, how are these dancers doing that? And I'm not. I'm a young dancer. I'm low-grade amateur. How do those top guys, what do they do? And Karen Hardy came across and taught a jive flick exercise at a workshop that I took to heart. Like I used this thing. I'm really hoping I have knees in 10 years because like I just took this thing to heart, man. Like, this thing was great, but I would like smash myself with this because I noticed the difference in my foot speed, my leg speed, my power, right? My flicks, of course, and my kicks because I wanted to look good. So that really helped. Now, here's the thing. I then put it to the test, as I always do, to my class, and I would torture them every week, right? My teenage class would come in, and I'd be like, warm up time. They'd be like, oh, you could hear the sigh because they knew what was coming. The Usain Bolt method, you're going to die. And so I would spend 10 minutes uh, just for a warm up, but I would have a warm up for rumba, cha-cha, paso doble, jive, and samba. Now, I do teach uh, like a 10 dance exercise. So across all the 10 dances of what I specialized in Ballroom Mastery Academy and the next level. So again, for these specific outcomes as well. So let me teach you one of these exercises, and it's the way we practice flicks and the order you want to practice it in. So you're doing it correctly. So when you do repeat it, you are going to be fucking awesome, right? Okay. So here's how we do it. Now, anyone can do this, okay? Let's look at this in order. So what's the actual exercise? It's simple, but you need to stay with me to understand exactly what we're trying to do. We go like this. I'll show you the music, actually. That's probably a bit easier. We'll do it in reverse. Let's get some jive. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Probably a bit slower to start. No. Scribble. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. We got a special treat for you tonight. My name is Ali, nice to meet you. Can I tell you, baby? Look around, there's a whole lot of pretty ladies, but not like you. You shine so bright. Whoa, yeah. And I was wondering if you and me could spend a minute on the floor up close, getting lost in it. I'm very glad my body is coming alive. So look at the order of this. What we have is first of all, we're going to stand on the left leg, bring the right knee up, and then extend down. This is your flick. So remember, a flick is from the knee and the foot, below the knee from the foot. A kick is high, so I'm not worried about kicks. Flicks are the thing. So we go down and up, down and up. So just do this with your right leg. Bring the knee up and down. Boom, do not kick the floor. The only injuries I've had in dancing are from breaking my big toe, both toes. It was a very light break, it wasn't big. It was from kicking the floor doing this damn exercise. Now, close your foot and go to the other one. Boom, boom. So just pick the knee up, go higher than you think just to understand the mechanic of this, right? So the knee is coming up. I would walk around in class and put my hand there and say, kick my kick my hand, right? So not kick it, knee my hand, just to get them to bring it up a little higher, yeah? So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you go down, point your foot and bring it back up. Point your foot. You're gonna feel the muscles on the outside here very much working, okay, as well. So that's the first thing to understand. Let's look at the timing of this. We're gonna go 4 on each leg, and we close on the and in between. So we go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. That's step 1, right? So try that to music. Ready?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen,
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now here's what's going to happen when you first do this. You ready? One leg will be dominant and you'll be like, yeah. The next leg will be like, holy shit, what just happened to me? Okay? You're going to feel a little spaz. Don't worry. So what we're trying to do here is get the muscles in the body to fire in a correct coordination. Hence why layer 1, like step 1, phase 1, whatever, is getting this leg to go a certain height each time and straightening the leg, and the next one too. Why? Because that's what you're training, the muscles. And down I go. Now, the next part of this, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, close, and then do it again, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is still not accurate though, is it? Step 2 is we need to add the supporting leg action. Now, this is key in Jive. Your supporting leg, the leg you're standing on, actually works. And we have like this synergy between the legs. So when I pick my leg up and go down, I bend the supporting leg and then I bring up my free leg. So remember, as I go down, bend, retract, or extend, retract, extend, retract. So both legs are working. You're gonna hate me at the end of this because it's a murderous bit. So I'm going down and up, right? Down and up. If I turn to the back, right? So both legs are working down and up, and then down and up. Then close in the other one, down and up, down and up, down and up, right? That is very important to understand because most people, look, let's look at it without that. Your leg is just doing this. It's like, what are you doing? Get off my shoe? That is not a step. That's not a movement. That's not a rhythm. So you're not trying to get shit off your shoe. You want to feel both legs working. So try that. This is stage 2, right? So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. So you will definitely notice that one, right? So looking here, right, we've got 1, see both legs are worked, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, right? So now we ain't done. Now, this is the part you're gonna be like, oh my God, Vaughan is definitely trying to kill me today. And I am, because it's for your own good. That is not all. What is missing, people? What do you tell me? Probably the most important part of this whole exercise, which is step 3. And step three is you have to do all of this on the ball of your leg, the ball of your foot. So, you like my ankles? Pretty good ankles today, okay? Supporting my body weight. Thank you, feet, right? So, so I'm on a flat foot when I've been doing those first 2, yeah? Now, those first 2 are just to teach it so you understand the order. That's not how you're going to practice it. Hell no. No. In this place, we do it correctly from the get-go. So as I go down and up, I'm doing it all on the ball of my supporting foot. So if I'm on my left foot to start, which you should be, when I do this, my heel will barely touch the floor. Like you might see it go down when I practice it, but zero weight is in that heel. It might I call it kissing the floor, right? So I'm going down, 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 and down, 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 down. So what's happening is on the ball of my foot, I'm springing, and remember, as I go down, both legs are extend, right, retract, extend and retract. So it's very hard to do it slowly. So let me show you with this bit here, so you can see it from behind. Ready? So I'll go and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. So you'll notice that the 2 connect together, yeah? All right. Now, you have to remember, I have done I would hate to count. You know, people like count steps. For a little bit, I tried one of those like fit trackers to count how many steps am I taking when I dance. Do you know one of the problems when you do foxtrot? It doesn't register steps. And you're like, oh Christ, because you're gliding, right? So in a comp, I think I did like 27,000 steps once. And I was like, that's not accurate because like it didn't count like foxtrot or like anything else. These jive steps it might count. So I've probably done like a freaking million of these. So if it looks easy, it's because I've done a lot of them, right? And I've trained it a lot. And Liz, this is like, Lisa, this is one of the things that really helped me in my jive tremendously. Now, because why? You're learning, you got to remember your body is trained a certain way, right? So you are literally creating new pathways in your body. You are trying to strengthen the weak leg. You're trying to train the dominant leg to be harmonious. So you kick to the left, it's just as easy it is to the right, and it won't be in the beginning. And you're trying to feel that as you do it, you increase speed. Here's where you'll fatigue. Within a few seconds, you might fatigue, right? You might try it. See how you go. You might make 10 seconds with right leg working, left leg failing, right? What ends up happening is you want both legs to be able to go and maintain a quality of speed, a quality of accuracy with the technique. Do you understand? And as you go longer, you'll find one leg starts to flop around a bit more and it's not accurate because you need your feet to feel like they are like piercing space, right? They are bang, now going down in a straight line. Boom, they're not going, oh my God. This is what would happen to the teenage class. Within 30 seconds, they're like, oh my God, oh, and they would just fail. And I'd say to them, don't stop because you should go for a minute to a minute and a half. And you're doing each leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you get tired, just flick between the feet like that, sort of like loose pendulum points in quick step, and then pick it back up again. Don't stop though, because you want to sort of train alternating feet anyway, like being able to shift feet relatively quickly, and that sort of thing. Now, in terms of your arms, keep them in front of your body here. So when you pick up and kick down, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're keeping some stability, okay? Try to stay on the spot as well. All this stuff is going to tighten you up, right? And just that's what you practice correctly. See, you understand why we don't just practice kicking. Yeah, you got to do it with an order. So the order is knee up, extend down, knee up, standing leg works. Get on the ball of the foot, boom, boom, release the energy, okay? One last thing, to avoid any problems in your leg health, when you are doing those kicks, you please remember that one of the things about the ligaments in your knee is when you go down, if you put a lot of force down into the kick, you're sort of going to pull the knee apart a little bit, right? And you might create tears. So one of the ironic things about these kicks is you're not really, if you point your foot, you're not feeling the energy go down into the floor through your foot. You're not trying to extend your leg and hyperextend it out of your hip. It hits a straight point and it comes back. My leg never feels like it's ever locked. It's sort of loose, right? So I'm just focusing on the point more than anything, okay? But I don't feel that I'm pushing my weight down because I could feel that would hurt my knee and my leg. Does that make sense? So you want to make sure you protect your leg health and the integrity through good technique. And barring kicking the floor, you shouldn't injure yourself. You should only get stronger as you do this. All right, now, what else was there? Okay, so let me show you also too, you can play around with this. So again, play is very important when you practice, right? So, okay, 5, 6, so you can go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I know you're not a doctor, but you could do me some good. Operator, please.
You can see if you want, you can start adding like taps and kicks to the side. Now you talked about ball changes. They're a different action, boom, right? That I won't go into right now because I'd like you to just focus on that. I would love it if you can do that and come back to me with some feedback. Show me a video of you, do it for 30 days, right? Take a video on day 1, take a video the next time you do it, and take a video on the last day and just note the progress and send it to me. I'd like to see it. Okay, so enjoy that. Let's get into, okay. Kevin, hi Kevin. I have access to a full-length mirror, glass door, window, where I can see reflections of practicing, getting the correct footwork, arm, body positions for different steps. What is the best way to check? Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, for years, I didn't have mirrors at all. At all when I was learning from Penny. For many, many years, I would just wait till it got till dark. Dusk would set in. I could start to see reflection in the glass. So as long as you can see yourself. Now, here's the thing. You ready? You ready? Okay. If you look weird, you are weird. Okay? If you look normal, chances are you are normal. And so what I mean by that is if you're looking at yourself and like you're practicing the waltz and you notice my arms, right? And I sag, weird. You look weird. So all you do is look at yourself and try to create the best shape and line possible. Notice my elbow's too high, bring it down. Find the spot, right? I'm trying to adjust the camera angles here. The camera's on a bit of a funny angle, right? So try to get that balance. Okay, cool. And then when I move, if I notice a drop or I sag, I fix that. That's it. So don't overcomplicate it. Just use it. Now, if you're doing, so in ballroom, just use a basic movement like a box and try to keep your arms balanced, right? So you're turning in the box. Just notice side on as well. When you're standing side on, notice your elbow relative to your body. Is it too forward? Are you pulling it back, right? Is your pelvis out so you're curving your back like this? Or are you slouching like this? And make the necessary adjustments. By the way, when you do this, it's going to be very uncomfortable, but that the mirror is giving you the correct feedback on what to do. Your body's just lying to you, right? It's trained the wrong way. When you do Latin, it's best for shapes. So you train things like a New Yorker. So you might stand in your position, and then you go into your New Yorker, boom. And you see the shape I got into there, hand here, arm there. That is from a lot of New Yorker repetitions in a reflective glass surface. So like doing it with Allison, right? Getting that position, put the hand up, put it back, right? Put it here, whatever. But you're practicing shape, not necessarily routine. And that's what I would recommend. Regina, what is the best way to practice spins at home? Boom, this is the last question. Thank you for being in here. So let's get into this. So great. Okay, let's understand something. Spins and turns are different, right? Turns, like a turning three step, is a turn divided up over three steps. And I know that sounds obvious, but people forget this, right? Because they'll put too much energy. So turning three step, for example, we're going to use this as the spin exercise foundation, right? So when I want to spin, a turning three step would go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? There's my spin. What do I do? 3 steps to create my turn. Now a spin is around one axis, one point. So if I go to spin, I would take a step, right? But I would actually do, say, 360 degrees or more. A double spin would be 720. So I'd be going all the way. So if I wanted to spin and that's my focus point, I would spin all the way, right? And then I would have to exit in whatever way, a lunge, a movement, a walk, right? If I was doing 2 spins, right, I'd be ended up going there and then having to exit. Now there's an order, so a spin is different to a turn, right? Or a turning three step. I hope you understand that. So what's gonna happen is the way to practice this is the mechanics, because if I wanted to create a spin, to me, the foundation's in a turning three step. So let's look at that real quick. So what we're gonna do is keep our weight, I'll do it side on to start with so you can see it. So I'm gonna keep my weight up and forward. This is number 1. Head and body in a perpendicular line, weight over the balls of the feet, no sagging. Keep my arms here. Now, what you can do is turn your body to the left, then the right, like that, but keep your head still. Because what's the mechanic? And remember we talked about an order of things. I think this is a really key thing from today's lesson. You have to do A, B, C, D for a turn or a spin to work. If you go A, C, D, and you miss B, you'll be off balance, right? So what is this order? Okay, so first things first is actually the foot. So I'm going to go and make sure that as I turn my body, I mean, there's a preparation, of course, so you could call that prior to A, right? But as I do the first part, I want my foot to turn into this straight line. Okay, so if let me just do this with the foot first. Foot cam, whoa, let's get that cam going. Whoa, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Excuse me, I didn't finish the, hey, I'm still here, I promise. There we go. Okay, so, oh, I must have lost battery. Yeah, probably think it just, yep. Did it go off? There we go. Change the battery. That's always good. Anyway, so we'll do it real quick. So anyway, so first things first, if I'm here, I want to spin, right? I actually want my foot to point the direction I'm going. Many people miss this. If I'm underturned like that, believe it or not, when I go to turn, I'm going to fall off balance. My body's going to throw me off. So first things first, I wind up, and then as I take that first step, boom, there. That way, the turn itself, I can close and come out. If I want to come back, what am I doing? Pointing the direction I'm going. So from here, I'm going to go there, close, and then to the side, right? And that's the same if I want to spin. If I want to spin, I'm going to want to feel that my foot, right, points the direction I'm going first. All right, so if I underturn it, I'm in trouble. Now, so that's sort of step one, if you will. Okay. The next thing of that, so once I've got my foot aligned, what's going to happen? My head, right, is going to be the first to leave and the last to, the last to leave and the first to arrive. So I need my body to create, using the shoulders particularly, a lot of energy to turn. So you'll notice this swing, my head is towards the camera, right? And I'm going to turn the foot. Notice that action, right? So foot, then shoulders, foot, then shoulders, okay? Keeping the weight forward. So that's A is the foot, B would be the shoulders turning. Now, the last part of this, when I'm turning, is going to be my head arriving first. So my head is the last to leave, but then the first to arrive. Boom. Did you see how it whipped around? Now, if you look down during that, you're going to fall off because where your eyes go, your body follows. So if I look down as I do that, I'm probably going to lose balance, right? If I try that properly. So, order A, B, head, C. And you'll notice then the foot can exit gracefully and catch my body weight. So when I go to release the energy of this turn there, as I exit, I want my head to come around, my foot to go ahead of my body and to catch the weight. Why? Because there's so much energy from the force of the turn. Okay, spin is the same thing. You need to control it and exit. Now, so if we look at that side on, right, I'll go like this to the left, and then I'll point, shoulders, head, right? We go the other way. Foot, shoulders, head, right? Foot, shoulders, head. All right, so that's the idea. And you'll notice that when you get the right coordination, it's so easy to be fast that you don't have to force the speed. Now, if you're wanting to create a spin, one of the things that you're going to need to do is to understand that you have like two centers in your body, all right? And so say center one is the tie knot and center two would be your belly button. But I want you to expand them out for a second. Now, if you were to spin or turn like that, you're going to lose your balance, aren't you? So there's this feeling that when you spin, that you're like a zipper between the two, sucks those two centers together like that. So you're trying to bring those 2 points together. So when you're creating your spin, the energy is going in, right? And this is like when figure skaters go very fast in a spin, you'll notice that they'll wrap their body up, and then to slow down, they'll open up, won't they? So if we want to create a spin, we need more speed. And to create more speed, we're going to bring our centers tighter together so we can end up coming in more, right? So whoop. Now, the thing about this that I need you to understand is you're going to have to take a risk. When you go to spin, you don't know if it's going to work, right? You're always guessing, right? But the technique, it frees you, yeah? So that's spinning action, and boom, keep the weight in, and then you can exit. Keep the weight in, and then you can exit. So if your shoulders throw back, you're going to be in trouble. Now, I want to thank you for being here today. I want you to practice all of that. Remember that this is a good game. It's a good journey, and it's a lot of fun. I want to thank you for being here, and make sure you check out Ballroom Mastery Academy, Dance at Home, the videos that I put up on YouTube. Your support is very much appreciated. And each month, leave me your questions. This was a great month. I really appreciate all the effort. And I'll see you next time.